Good afternoon. I hope you're all enjoying RDC. How many people are enjoying RDC? Have enjoyed it? Yeah? All right. Awesome. Thanks for coming to the tent to spend some time in the Grow sessions. I'm thrilled and excited to be here to talk about a bunch of exciting updates that we're making to the platform, particularly with discovery. And before I get started, I want to talk about what we're building. And ultimately what we're focused on, and for those of that sat in the Q&A session, you may have heard a little bit about this, but we're really focused on building a dynamic, vibrant, two-sided marketplace, one that connects users with the experiences they love, but also empowers all of you to reach the perfect audience. And we think we can do both of those together. And our key mission is really, again, to establish meaningful connections between users and experiences, which means you as developers, so you can start building your communities. But as part of this mission, we always hold ourselves accountable. And I know we get a lot of feedback. And in fact, I've probably spoken to a lot of you in the audience. We always are trying to talk to devs. We're looking at data, metrics. We're talking with users. We dog food the products. I use Roblox quite a lot. And we make sure we're headed in the right direction. We're actually accomplishing this mission. So one thing that I want us to kind of look back to over the last year is just the progress we're making and a handful of metrics that show that progress that we're making together. Because ultimately, it's about the system we're building and all the great content that you're also building. The first metric that we look at is just how many users are seeing how many experiences. And we've been moving along this direction. You may remember last RDC, I talked a bit about this, where we want to get more experiences in front of users. And we know we have more experiences being built that we want to get in front of those users. And we've seen huge progress over the last year. We've seen a 469% increase in terms of experiences being recommended from home. But that's not enough. We don't want to just show users more content. It's not great if the content isn't great, right? You're just going to see low quality things that you don't want to engage with. So we focus on quality, and we also want to recommend things that can get popular, that can break into the top 150. So we also look at experiences that are created in a 98-day window. How many break into the top 150 during that period? And again, year over year, we've seen a 9% increase in terms of those experiences. And again, that's not just the system working. Of course, that's all the great content that you're building and feeding into the system that we're building. The last part is, as I mentioned, we want users to find experiences that they love. And we look at user engagement. And for users that originate on home and click on or tap on a recommendation, we're seeing a 20% year-over-year increase in terms of their time spent. So they're actually finding much better quality and higher quality experiences that they love as well. And I mentioned too that we don't just look at metrics, just data. We also want to understand the stories. Like I said, I've probably spoken to a bunch of you in the crowd, including last RDC, and since then, I often have calls with devs. And as we were preparing for this presentation, we were talking with some devs, and one we found really interesting because I think it really tells the story that we want to see increasingly. We want to see devs having the same story, and it really captures what we're trying to do with distribution. So with that, I'm going to play a short clip that is from the developer themselves.
Hello, I'm Venomous Wolf, the creator of Animal Life Forest Roleplay. My journey to become a Roblox game developer started 2 years ago in September of 2021. The first thing I did was get into Roblox Studio and followed along with some of Roblox's online lessons to learn the basics. I was already pretty familiar with the Roblox gaming platform and formulated ideas on what kind of a game I should work on. A game that would function as a source of income and something that I also cared about. This led me to the animal roleplay genre. After around 7 or 8 months of learning and working on building a game almost daily, I finally released the first version of my game to the public. However, it hardly got any players because I was not spending any money on advertising on Roblox or other platforms. This was discouraging at first, but over the next few months, the game slowly reached 25,000 visits and maintained a good like ratio. Then one morning, I woke up to several hundred concurrent players, and I realized that Roblox had picked up on the game and started recommending it to new people. From hundreds of players, it became thousands after I continually refined and updated the game to become what it is today, with 90 million visits since the game took off a year ago. I am now making a good living off of Roblox, and I'm grateful for an amazing player base and staff to help manage the game and the community. I also admire the very talented designer known as Malbers, who made the basis of the animal morphs, and my friend Yourcraft to help with world design, making the game loved by so many kids. My advice to future and aspiring developers is, get into developing when you're young since it takes time to learn. Analyze other games and what makes them succeed or fail before making your own. And don't be discouraged or think it's too difficult, because it is possible with enough determination, and all you need to know for success with Roblox is right at your fingertips online.
All right, can we get a quick round of applause? I think just great story. And I personally love the animations, the art style, and it's just a testament, again, of the great content and great experience that Venomous Wolf is investing in. And again, this is the common story we want across all developers. You can have a creative thought, you can quickly build it in Roblox, and then you can find success just based on the quality of experience that you've built. So again, I want to hear more of that. And also, if you have feedback, questions, thoughts for me, I'm available. Come grab me after. Always want to reflect and hear your thoughts and your perspective. So looking forwards, I'm really excited to share what's coming. And I'm going to focus on 3 surface areas. The first is home, which everyone is probably familiar with. It's recommendations that everyone has a very strong opinion of. And we'll be getting into a bit more detail later in the session. And for home, we're really focused on getting users to take the next best action for them, as well as, again, connect the perfect audience to an experience. And I want to impress upon, we're not building a consumption feed. We don't want users to stick around on home. We want to get them into high quality experiences that they'll love as soon as possible, and that's where they should be spending their time. The second is search, or second is notifications. And notifications are focused on timely, highly relevant information and updates to a user. And then last is search, which is increasingly becoming this powerful concierge for users to pull content out of Roblox fast. So before I start on the details of home and the changes we're making, I want to zoom all the way out. And I want to talk about Roblox to start. And if we think about Roblox, it's this 3D space. It has really interesting, vibrant activity happening all the time and super deep experiences. And I think there's an analogy, which is the real worlds. It's a 3D space. There's a bunch of really interesting stuff happening. There are interesting experiences, places to go. And in the real worlds, you can walk down the street and you can look at storefronts and buildings and the facade of the building. You can see through the windows. Who's in there? Are my friends in there? Does it look fun? What's on the restaurant menu? It's pretty interesting, and it's a lot of information for you to make a decision of if you want to enter that store. And we want Roblox Discovery to be just as immersive, because again, we have a lot of depth, activity, et cetera, for users to make really, really good choices as a result. The other part is we have some superpowers, and you'll increasingly see these woven into Discovery, but one that's obvious to all of us is the ability to teleport. You can't, for instance, go to Yelp and go to a restaurant and hit teleport and just be there. That'd be kind of cool, but you can't do it. And you can do that on Roblox. So we want to also make it really seamless as part of immersive. So we really are thinking about the tile as an example as your storefront. And just like a storefront, it needs to have highly visual, interesting information that captures the immersiveness in it, which is why what you're seeing on this slide is an update that we're planning to test soon, and details will follow. We'll make sure that you understand when it's coming, how it's impacting distribution, et cetera. But we think this is a really important change to give you a bigger canvas to, again, express what's within your experience. And we think this is going to be a really important step along this path of immersive, seamless discovery. We also view this as a collaboration. So we want to tap into all of your creative energy, and all the information that's in your head. You ultimately know your experience is best, and you can provide us with creative, metadata, et cetera, to fuel this discovery system. And then the discovery system is making per user decisions. It's a neural net machine learning recommendation system. So we can do really interesting things because we know immediately, for instance, that your friends are playing an experience, and we'll layer that on top. And those two things combined will make it really interesting, and again, kind of mirror the real world in a lot of ways, but hopefully much more interesting ways. So again, our goal is to give users the right amount of information at the right time. And what you're seeing are some other mocks that we're considering and exploring as part of this. And you could imagine, for instance, and there was a great question at the Q&A, I think, from Voldex, if I remember correctly, about this, of you can imagine a different creative shown for a new user versus an existing user. If you've played an experience before, you probably have a good sense of what it's about, and you don't necessarily need a ton of real estate because the user just wants to get back into it quickly. Whereas a new user to your experience probably needs more information to make that decision. So again, this is another preview of kind of the visual system that we're building. The other cool part is once we have this visual system where we have more space and we can include more relevant immersive information, we can consider other really interesting treatments. And I mentioned before, seeing your friends in an experience is really powerful. Roblox is about co-play. And we're going to increasingly weave social into recommendations so people know what their friends are doing and why something is relevant to them. What you're seeing is an example. You can imagine you've been playing a fun experience the last couple of days with friends, and you open Roblox. There's probably a good chance that you want to jump back into that experience quickly with your friends. So we can highlight that to a user. We can also chain invites off of this, and we're going to continue to make improvements to other core parts of co-play, including the invites dialogue. So we're making it much more seamless, easier to add friends or move friends as part of this flow. And then the last part is your friends need to be reachable. And we know we have some gaps. And for instance, we started including push notifications so users know when they're getting these invites. We're also going to extend these to in-experience. Because if you're already in experience, you get an invite from a friend, you just don't know it today. And we want to be able to have users and friends collaborate and go from experience to experience together. So I mentioned search, and search is really focused on becoming this really powerful concierge to pull things out of Roblox fast. And we've made some really awesome updates as part of this mission over the last year. And one of them I want to call out is semantic search. What semantic search does is it basically infers any free text that a user enters into search and pulls relevant content out, even if we don't have any structured metadata to go on. And like I said, we want more of that, and we want to collaborate with you all to get that. But also, we can do inference. And a good example that you can all try, maybe not in the middle of the session, but after, if you open Roblox, try something like food games or avatar editors. We don't have structured metadata to actually surface relevant experiences, but you actually get really good results back. So this is a path that we're going to continue heading down where we use more advanced machine learning techniques to build a better concierge. And of course, if you see holes in search, share them with us and we'll take a look, investigate, make sure they're fixed. The final point of this is that it's not limited to English. We support all official Roblox languages, so this is available globally to all users. So I also mentioned notifications, and you probably saw a preview of this in Manuel's keynote. We launched player invite prompts last year, and they're pretty straightforward. As a developer, you can prompt a user to invite their friends, and then their friends get notifications and they can join an experience together. We've seen really, really great uptake. We've seen about, I think, a third of the top 1,000 developers adopt this over the last year. It's just the graph is going up and to the right. So clearly all of you are getting a lot of value, and our users are as well. We see engagement, retention, all the key metrics go up. So I highly recommend, if you haven't considered player invites, that's something that you consider implementing. And personally, I've used it and have run into some really cool examples. Like there's a boxing game that allows you to step on a square next to it and immediately invite a friend to box, which I felt like made the experience by itself better. So we've seen great adoption. We've seen great engagement, retention. Users are loving it, devs are loving it. But it's also kind of constraining. You can't do much with it other than send invites. So we want to change that. And specifically, we're going to launch 2 APIs that effectively do the same thing. They allow you to send effectively any type of notification that you'd like. And these will be available through OpenCloud as well as an engine. So you can trigger these in a live running instance as well. Now, I want to add 2 things. One is this will likely be available sometime early next year, and we'll share more details, including how the API works, et cetera. The other really critical part is we want this to be a high signal to noise ratio. We're going to take that very seriously, including giving users a lot of controls, opt-in, et cetera, to make sure that happens. But it's also important to all of us as a community. We don't want to burn out this channel and have users feel like it's spammy. So it's something we're going to keep a close eye on while we open this up to all of you. So with that, that ends my portion. And soon Anupam will join me and join us on stage to talk about the algorithm, how it works, all the impact that we're seeing there, as well as matchmaking. And there's a bunch of really cool, exciting updates there. Before we do that, we prepared a really short demo that kind of weaves together a bunch of the features that were just mentioned here into an end-to-end demo. And I want to leave you with that. So thank you again for all of your time. If you have feedback, thoughts, feel free to grab me. I'm always open to hearing them. So thanks.
Hey RDC, I'm Tim. I lead Design for Growth. I think the team would appreciate a Roblox Classic today. All right, I'm sending a group invite to Trevor, Michael, and Jen. Let's see who comes through.
Hey, what's this? It looks like Tim wants me to join them in a new game. Count me in.
Tim's online. Let's play a little natural disaster survival.
I see Tim's trying to meet up in natural disaster, but I am in the middle of a dance battle. I'll decline it for now, but I definitely want to join my friends soon.
Okay, let's change the pace. Time for a new experience. Let's check out that game my friend was telling me about. What was it called? Oh, Driving Empire. Here we go. Joining now.
Hey, what's this? It seems like Michael found another experience.
Let's go check it out.
That was a fun dance battle. It looks like Tim, Trevor, and Michael are all together. Time to reunite with the crew.
Oh, we're gonna be busy for a little while. Back to you.
Please welcome Anupam Singh.
Hello, my name's Anupam. I run engineering for the Growth Group. Let's acknowledge one very important fact though. I am the last speaker standing between you and a very good party called the Innovation Awards. Yes? So let's make it interactive. Let's get through this. We're going to talk about algorithms because we're a technical company and we love talking algorithms, okay? How many of you, being creators, monitor your homepage impressions? Show of hands. Okay, many of you, 50%. And many of you, we have heard feedback in this event, and we constantly talk to our developers and creators, wonder why the homepage impressions go up and down. It seems to, you know, if there wasn't an algorithm behind it, it seems almost arbitrary. It goes up and down, up and down. So firstly, let me acknowledge that we have become more and more sophisticated in our modeling in our algorithm so that we do get the homepage impressions up and down. Our goal, though, is to make sure that eventually these impressions lead to more and more engagement. So think of the gray line that you're seeing on the screen as the impressions going up and down. But think of as our goal as the green line, which is keeping your engagement up and to the right. How do we do that? over the last couple of years, we have developed a pretty sophisticated algorithm. And what I want to do today is give you a view into it so that you get some transparency. Manuel talked about it in his keynote. We are very committed to give you transparency into what we do when we choose to show an experience on our homepage. So let's start with a very basic view of the homepage. Every box you could think of this on the screen as a series of neural networks, a series of algorithms to pick up all the experiences, put them through 3 different stages. I'm going to walk you through these 3 different stages. So the first one is we consider and look at every experience that is on our platform. Every experience is indexed and is a candidate to be shown on the homepage. Of course, when you have millions of experiences, you cannot show all of them on the homepage because the homepage has to be selective. So how do we generate the candidates for the homepage? So the first one is engagement. Are your users finding the content engaging? Are they finding it interesting? Which is very natural. The second one is we are a social platform. We are a co-experience platform. So we continuously analyze whether people are playing them together or not, whether people are enjoying the content together. So that's what we call social. The next one is retention. Do people come back? After they've played it once or twice or thrice, do they keep coming back? Next, we are very lucky to have an extraordinary variety of content on our platform. And so it is our job, the algorithm's job, to make sure that our users see a variety of content so that in some ways they don't get bored. Next is monetization. It's important to keep our economy healthy. And so we do consider monetization signals. And therefore, if you monetize better, if you monetize well, we will consider it as a candidate for the homepage. And finally, we're very lucky, Dave talked about this in his keynote, we're very lucky that we have extraordinary growth internationally, whether it is Brazil, whether it is India, whether it is Japan. And so we do consider international signals. So the homepage for a Japanese user might be very different from a user in India. So those are the signals. So from millions of experiences, we generate thousands of candidates. Next, we personalize it. Each one of you has some, as a player, not as a creator, each one of you has some preferences, has shown us through your play history, shown us through your engagement, that you engage with a particular type of content. So we then rank all of these. 2 very important things to consider again are engagement and monetization. So as we start ranking them, we figure out the engagement and monetization and the relevance for every user. Once we've done all that, we have to fit all of this into the homepage. I know there have been many questions about, why does my experience not show up on the homepage? In some ways, we do have limited real estate on the homepage. So we then have a final stage to balance monetization and engagement. And then that's how the experience shows up on the homepage. So that's when you are designing your experience, or when you're looking at creator analytics and wondering, why your homepage impressions are going up and down, think about these 6 criteria and think about whether it's become more engaging or less engaging. Fair enough? Okay, so now the user is seeing your experience on the homepage. The next thing that happens is something that we are very proud about. This is one of the most brilliant technology innovations on the internet, the play button by Roblox. Seems very innocuous, right? It's just one green button, you press it. So show of hands, how many of you play Roblox on Saturdays? Pretty much all of you. Okay. So what does that mean for us? Saturdays are very interesting and exciting in my household because sometimes 1.4 million, 1.48 million people press the play button at the same time. And all of us are creators or programmers, and we know that means it creates a huge complication for us on the back end. When you have 1.5 million players trying to get into the same experience, how do you bring them together? Which server do you send them to? Which data center do you send them to? We've been very busy solving this problem so that you folks, as creators, do not have to worry about too many people wanting to get into your experience. And this is called the thundering herd problem. And it sounds it means exactly what it sounds like. A thundering herd of users want to get into your experience. We've solved this problem over the last year. The first thing that we do is, as soon as we anticipate a thundering herd, we capture the snapshot of where users are. So let's say you're playing with 2 or 3 of your friends, we will capture that snapshot. We then anticipate the thundering herd through user history, through play history, and we start pre-warming our servers. So long before anybody presses play, we've already gotten servers ready to go. And so when a user comes in, it's almost magical because the server's ready, we know who you're going to play with, and we are going to just match you to that server, and you'll be in. Now, all of this seems very complicated, but let's think about it from the user and the player's perspective. Before we implemented this, if 4 of you, 3 of your friends and you are playing together, and an update happens, there was a pretty high chance that you would be sent to different servers. And so now you're not with your friends, remember the social signal is gone, and you might even be alone in a server, which is pretty boring. With this algorithm, with this technology that we've implemented, we remember you were playing with some friends, an update happens, 1.5 million people show up, and we still make sure that you are playing with your friends. Okay? So a round of applause for our engineering team, which has done some really gnarly work. Okay? And again, all of this should be transparent to you, but we would love to show you a video on how this works. Cue the video. So this is, what you're seeing here is adopt me, somebody's trying to enter it. That is a pre-warmed server, and they're already in before I finish the sentence. This is without pre-warming. You're waiting. I think we should just stop waiting because it's too late in the afternoon. So let's go to the next slide. But the idea is, with pre-warming, we are able to get you in really, really quickly. The server is already ready for you. We are also making investments in our matchmaking algorithm to use more language signals, to use your device type, because sometimes depending on the device, some servers might be more interesting to you, and of course your play history. So that's the matchmaking section of our investment. But sometimes with all our efforts, you're trying to join a friend in a particular experience, and there's no space. Used to be that you would get bounced out, or it was not very clear. What we have implemented this year is a join queue so that you can wait to join into the server. As space opens up, we will get you in, and you're still able to play with your friends. Also, we are getting more and more social in terms of getting people to play together. So we give you context on who invited you, how did you get in, can you play with friends. Next is, this happens often when Matt Kelly and I are playing. He hops from experience to experience very, very quickly. And so I have to follow him, and it's very difficult to follow somebody who plays Roblox so well. So we've introduced the experience hop feature, where if a friend of mine goes to another experience, I should be able to follow that friend. But what if that friend actually goes to a non-root place? You get lost because you're now at the spawn point and you're looking for your friend. So we have enabled you, the creators, to be able to give direct access to places, so that if players want to follow each other from place to place rather than experience to experience, they can actually do that as long as the creator allows people or users to join at places. So in the end, what we want to say is from the homepage, from taking and indexing an experience, all the way to getting friends to play with each other, we want this to be transparent, smooth, and seamless. It's almost as if our algorithms don't exist. It's all about getting you to play with each other. On that note, thank you very much for listening.